Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It's March 13th. I'm Ryan Miller. He's this thief you can see, Matt Amberg.
I'm visibly arresting.
You can just see us really well. Visibility is our thing.
Yeah, I'm visually arresting. You see me and you're like, man, I just want to steal another glance at that guy.
How was your week?
My week was filled with a shocking amount of heartache and stress and pain.
Should I have not asked?
Well, you asked. It's too late. You've already uncorked the genie, my friend.
I can edit that part out.
No.
I'll just pretend like I asked you, what's meatballs? You
could, but you won't.
You're right.
Yeah.
When I say I will, I don't. Thanks.
This week
got me.
This week has been tough. There's been a lot of family issues with my daughter. That's the easiest way of putting it is there's a disconnect between us and her right now, and that's a lot of stress with it. Got some medical problems coming up. It's just a lot. It's been a lot. Haven't had time to really invest as much life into video games or the things therein that I'd like to, but we made some time as best we could to get some games in and some movies and all that. So, it's life. Life moves on, and maybe someday in the future I will go into further detail on what the situations are. Right now they're a little fresh and it's all very ongoing. So, yeah. How about you? How is your life? Good?
The way I see it, and this is something I come back to, I think all of us come back to at some point, because being invested in games, there's kind of that stigma that follows, like it's hard to especially talk to other people, I think, at times about games because they're kids things, like you're wasting your time.
You're playing with a toy.
Yeah, whatever. The thing that always comes to mind is how that's exactly the stuff, especially nowadays, with times like this, like you like or you hate Trump, but it's not all roses on either side, let's say. Times like these are when stuff that perks you up gets an uptick. Like there's reasons why at times like this that games are more important, not less important, right? I guess, type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I
don't know. That's what I always go back to, but, we do what we do. We enjoy it.
We do what we do when we do what we do. You know what I'm saying?
No, 0 points that count.
No, but how was your week, really?
It was fine. I have like the opposite problem. Not enough happens and it's super boring, and
look at
can't
you
help you out there
being all happy and smiling and enjoying your life. Oh, I'm just bored and it's not fun.
Hey, I didn't say that. Now let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
My wife was still on that cruise, so I got to spend like all sorts of time with kids, and I actually didn't do as much work this week. In fact, I feel lucky at this point that my clients haven't tried to contact me in some kind of where are you way.
Thankfully, they'll be listening to this show going, well, now we know.
If only I had clients that listen to this show. I could solve, if you not believe the amount of problems that would solve.
About you having clients, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Then I wouldn't have to work as much.
Yeah, no.
Bingo.
All right, no, we found it. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and send some cards out to your clients.
I mean, against all odds, I did kind of play a lot of a video game.
Only you would come to a podcast with video games in your belt.
If you want to hear about that, I don't know. I kind of really want to hear about yours too.
I did. Okay, I got one game under my belt this week that was something I played kind of by myself. I played with a squad of friends. I played some more Fortnite. Finally got that victory royale. Yes, it was with squads. I don't care. I still got it. The umbrella is mine.
Does that? Yeah. No, you say that like squads doesn't count as much.
Well, okay. So I mean, ultimately, I do want to get that victory royale by myself. I want to get a solo win. That's the thing that's important to me. But squads is it's a different game. Like it is in many ways. I don't know that it's harder, but it's different because it's everybody shooting everybody. You've got 4 guys, and like half the time I only see 2 of them. Where are the other 2? They're probably dead. Nope, they were behind us. Okay, right. Didn't know. Yeah, I squatted up with my friend, old friend from the Loadout days, Junglist.
Nice.
And we played, I don't know, probably 10, 12 games, and we got 2 victory royales out of it. And
pretty good odds. Actually.
We had
That's not bad.
Had a lot of fun with those guys. It was even in the losses, we had some close games. I had a couple good kills here and there. But yeah, it was the moment that screen popped up, like we saw the win coming when 3 of us are going up to the top of the hill and there's 1 guy left or 2 guys left. They're up there, but they're not doing anything, and they clearly didn't have any explosives. And we went up there and we had rocket launchers and stuff, and man, like as soon as we started climbing up, we were like, oh yeah, this is done. This is totally done. And the last guy, it was pretty humorous. There's the one dude gets shotgun and he's taken out, and then the last guy is like hiding underneath his little base that only had it had like 2 walls and a back to it and then a stair in the middle of it. So it didn't have a front because I don't know if we blew it up on the way up or not.
Blew it out, yeah.
But he was sitting under the stairs, and like a couple of grenades go out, and then I come sailing in and I fire off a rocket, and like there was just so much explosion, there was no chance the guy was going to survive.
Did you get the final kill? Is that what you're telling
me? I did
me?
not get the final kill. The final kill was one of the other dudes. And in both cases, the other case I should have gotten the final kill, but bad aiming causes that. But it was great, man.
Was everybody in your squad somebody you knew? Like, did you have any public?
Nope.
Just
the one guy. They all knew him. They all knew Junglist.
Right, yeah.
So
that's
they were friends, but I didn't know them. I only knew.
But you guys were a party, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Yes.
Gotcha.
We were a party.
Okay.
We were chatting. The first game is actually a bunch of the games are up on his Twitch channel. So.
Oh, nice.
If you
what would that be? Actually?
It would be Junglist.
I want to check it out.
Junglis, and I think it's 4 T's afterwards.
Okay. So, rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's very, very Junglist.
So that was one victory royale. What about, was the other one less remarkable than?
The other one's the one that I should have had the final kill on, and I just bad aimed it. And the other dude, there was 2 of us left out of the 4, and we ended up. He ended up getting the final kill, but I got some damage on the dude. It was fine. I didn't have a ton of kills in either game. I think I had at most 4 in one of the games, possibly. But it's squads. It was fun. We had fun with the squads. 2 of the guys were really excellent, and then there was me, and then there was Junglist, who's also very good. So gotcha. Pretty much just me being the bottom there. I got carried. I don't care. Whatever, I'll take it.
But you've got enough fuel now to it's a little bit more fuel at least to get you to a solo victory royale.
Maybe. I consistently get top 10. I'm pretty good about getting top 10, top 15. Occasionally, I'm pretty good about, I'll have a few games in a row where I'll hit something in top 5, but I need to improve my building. Not only that, but the speed of the building. And then I still have weapon switching problems. Like I get nervous and I go, oh no, and I click the wrong button. I'm like, oh, I should have, I went to click my shotgun and instead I clicked a wall, because my buttons, I'm done.
Let me, I've got a technique that might work out for you.
Don't play
Just
the game.
Always press the wrong button.
That sounds good.
It's worked for me so far.
and you've got many victory royales.
Our second place, completely horrible loss there.
Still very depressing.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Fortnite, good stuff. Also, I have to mention it just because I think it's really ridiculous.
Okay.
How freaking crazy big this game is becoming. I mean, I've talked about it like every week.
Yeah,
but man,
nuts.
it's like it's getting bigger and bigger and more stuff, like now like there's articles about some of the Bundesliga soccer teams. They're like dudes out in Bayern Leverkusen that are doing the Fortnite things when they score goals and
really?
It's happening everywhere. It's happening at rugby matches now. Dudes are doing the pickaxe or the bandaging and stuff, and it's freaking insane how this game of all, like, out of everything, like, just why, what is it about this game that allows this? I don't know. It's very, very crazy and cool.
Yeah, we even talk about Roseanne Barr's tweet the other day, and
which I don't believe her one for one sec. She's a liar.
No. So some of them, I mean, Epic's doing a good job of surfacing all these kind of weird things.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Some of them do appear to be a little bit. It's that one especially. Like, isn't her new show is or the reboot or whatever is pretty close on the horizon, and there was no context to that tweet at all. So yeah, it was kind of a nakedly obvious.
I imagine it's Roseanne just jumping in,
doing what she does.
Yeah, mixing it up.
Roseanne.
All right, what do you got? What games? What did you play?
FTL was the game, actually.
That you played that on mobile, I bet.
Yes, I sure did. And we've talked about this a little bit already, but I've finally got to a point of literacy, I guess, like, because there was a lot. We talked a lot about, especially with our back and forth with Into the Breach, stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the surface of that, a lot to maybe learn and get into. The first thing I did was stop trying to do it on normal difficulty. It's got 3 difficulties. I don't know. It defaults to normal. That's the one that's on there, but I don't think anybody wants to start there. Actually, it seems like the game doesn't want you to start there because you unlock certain things depending on how far you get and on different achievements or tasks that you do during a run.
Yeah.
But it all unlocks on easy. Like, it seems like it's made for you to get that stuff on easy so that you can then try normal, the harder difficulties.
Only if you don't want to challenge yourself, baby Ryan.
I guess.
Infant Ryan. Do you wear a diaper when you play?
I mean, I do, but this, I feel like it's unrelated.
I've got a binky. My name's Rye Guy. I'm playing FTL.
Is that how it goes?
Basically, because
Cool.
then finally I get to the end guy, and I've figured out, so there's 2, one of the ships I did unlock, the first one, the default one, is basically just set up your weapons. The only other kind of damage avenue is a drone system, and it's just kind of these things you set in motion. They can repair your ship, they can damage the other ship, they can target intruders on your ship, because if the other ship has a transporter, they can send dudes over to mess up your stuff.
Which we all know is a bunch of bullshit.
But this ship I did unlock, the NG ship, comes with a drone system. So basically, it's set up. It's kind of outfitted more in the other direction. So I'm not just straight up doing weapons and shooting weapons. It's the only weapon I have disables other weapons. It's an ion weapon that I then, so the drones can get through. So it forces you to play it in a different way, which is really smart, I think, for the initial levels. But it also ends up being the thing that I can kind of break easy mode with. I just set my gun to shoot at the shields, so their shields keep going down. And then I set my actual weapon to shoot their weapon systems. So when their weapon systems go down, they can't, like, I'm not losing as much whole health.
Whole health for the whole.
That ends up being the way to get through easy. Not that guarantees me a win, apparently, because the first time I got there, I got to the last sector. And then on the last sector, it's a little bit different than every other sector in that there's kind of repair stations. Like, if you can get to those, you'll get a bunch of materials and your ship will be repaired, as opposed to before you have to go to like a store and you can buy stuff or, pay for somebody to repair your hull.
Sure.
But while this is happening on the last sector, the final boss ship is making his way to the base tile on the board. So you can go around that world, that last sector a little bit, to try and get a kind of a last push of upgrades or whatever. But you have to keep an eye on that boss ship. Because it turns out, this part I didn't know, if he gets to the base and sits there long enough, game over.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. He's vaporizing everything.
Well, in retrospect, maybe he was just, maybe it's not until you encounter him and then it's game over.
Yeah.
So I'm going around the map, like finding repair depots and getting like all these sweet upgrades, and my ship is freaking amazing. And there's just game over screen.
Out of curiosity, have you ever seen a movie where like an alien race invades? and they're just like, oh wait, no, you guys, like, your defenses aren't ready. All right, we'll hold back.
These are game rules. The enemies don't do anything unless you touch them. They can't hurt you if you don't touch them.
Independence Day would have been so much different if they were like, okay, wait, you guys don't have, like, have you guys figured out how to defeat us yet? We'll wait.
What are you guys doing? Are you kind of just sitting there? Oh, you blew up the White House.
Hey, what are you doing with Jeff Goldblum? Why is he always? He fights dinosaurs, he fights aliens, and then he's
I wish I had a Jeff Goldblum unit. in FTL.
Don't we
Missed
all?
opportunity.
Oh,
Jeez. So, second time around, though, I get it figured. I'm like, okay, I know. Don't let the ship destroy the base. So I get there. Like I said, I've got it down now. I can get to the end sector every time now.
my favorite Elton John song.
So I encounter the ship this time. I do my due diligence, and I've heard some things about that end battle specifically. Like you might need certain things to defeat that last guy.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it's true yet. I'm kind of stubbornly trying to do it without what I've heard so that I can fake myself out into thinking I'm playing this without foreknowledge. But
Don't you love doing that too?
I don't know. I think the battle is a 3-stage battle is what it comes down to, because the thing I've heard is that you have to have a transporter, I think is what it is, which I actually had this time just in case, but I got far enough. I think what's happening is that it's just a 3-stage battle. Like I get him down, there's some little explosions, but then he runs away. So I got to chase him. I start the battle again, and I've done that up to 3 times, and the opening text for the 3rd time says something like, "This is it." So I think it's just a 3-stage battle that I'm not getting through because he gets my hull all the way down. Actually, both times I finally got to him, I haven't had full health on my ship.
So is that the thing though, then where you've got to chase him away, then go to those repair stations that are in the sector, get
that
fixed
might be,
up, then go after, like you've got to kind of follow him, but then veer off and like refuel or whatever.
I need to find out. Yeah, that's actually a good idea, because I need to find out how long he can stay on that little base tile. Like if he's just there for 1 turn, I definitely can't do that because he'll get the base in 1 turn. But if I have time, yeah, because once I beat him the first time, he runs away. If I have time to,
Right.
go back and get that repair, that's a good idea. Actually, I like where this is going.
Thanks.
More next week. I have a lot of fun though. It's really cool. Like the deeper I'm diving into that, I've heard that I probably won't like hard mode, so we'll see how far I get on normal mode.
Sure.
But I'm finally starting to unlock some stuff that's letting me do a little bit more stuff. I just unlocked another layout for that second ship that's getting me through, which comes with some different... basically different ships and different layouts of each ship start with different base items.
Right,
So,
like the quarters are different, right?
Yeah, so I'm starting to figure out why that's useful. But yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about when you get to actually get a chance to play Into the Breach, because I do think
Me too.
I do think you're really gonna like that game.
I have heard that the end of FTL can be frustrating, and I've heard that Into the Breach doesn't do that as much. Like they got the message, or I don't know if Into the Breach is more tightly designed. I get the feeling that there's a lot less leeway with Into the Breach. Maybe it's the grid thing.
I mean, I feel like just based on what I'm hearing, the options you have are slightly more limited.
Right.
What you're
Yeah.
doing, how you're building out the mechs and stuff is not quite as deep as what you're doing with that.
Right.
Whereas the mechs are kind of like, you have a bunch of different mechs and you can increase their power, but you're not ultimately changing them in any meaningful way.
Gotcha.
The mech sets that you have, because they come in sets of 3. Those are like, as you unlock them, those are the changes. So it's like they have different weapons installed regardless.
Yeah. Okay. Whereas the ship is fully like way customizable. Like that's kind of the thing that you're doing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We shall see.
We shall.
Only played one other thing this week.
Yeah. Well, I played it with you.
You played it too.
We played it together. One could say that.
If you wanted to get technical.
Yeah, one could say technically you were Johnny Depp and I was Orlando Bloom. Or better, you were Johnny Depp and I was Jeffrey Rush. No, we're the 2 guys that hang out with Jeffrey Rush that are like the idiots that's like, "Hello, puppet." There's the guy with the missing eye and then the short fat guy. You're the guy with the missing eye and the short fat guy.
Or we were Johnny Depp and that 2 ships we ran into were Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be Johnny Depp though. His stupid hair and his dumb acting is
What
bad.
happened to that dude?
He became bad at acting.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Book club for movies. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're there. Sea of Thieves. We hit up the Sea of Thieves final beta this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm glad they had one.
Yeah. It was really good to. This is the second time I got to play it for an extended period of time. And this was a good time because we got to play together as an absolute unit.
Yeah. Did you get into the last one? I downloaded it. I got in I think maybe I had to sign up for. I don't remember if I just got it for the Xbox Insider thing or what, and then completely missed all of the dates for it. So
I missed that one. I played the one before it.
is this one? We're gonna get into it. Is this a ton different than what you played before?
Not a ton, no.
Okay, yeah. I feel like it was just kind of more of a stress test, and
They added one of the merchant quest giver was there. That wasn't
Gotcha.
there the first time.
So, and that's going to be a theme maybe throughout this, is we're not entirely sure what all is turned on for this thing. It was a beta, but I get the feeling that didn't affect your enjoyment of the game so much.
No, I had a lot of fun with it. I can see there are definitely still question marks, but this is it's kind of one of those games where I think the idea behind it is greater than maybe the sum of its parts, but I don't know if we're gonna find that out yet. You know, it's like a little bit later before we get to that.
This is out March 20th, I think.
Yeah,
right? So we still got like a week.
2 weeks, week and a half, I guess. Yeah. I guess no, maybe it is a week, huh? I don't even know what date it is.
Yeah, that's correct.
Holy crap.
The 13th, but we don't keep
you know,
track of it.
yeah. So the big question, it was the same thing I mentioned last time, is content. There are basically 3 kinds of quest givers that we know are going to be in the final game, and they're all going to be kind of along the same lines of you're going point A to point B. You're either collecting something or you're digging for something. You're searching for something, and then you're going back. So it's like a lot of fetch quests, right?
Mm.
But it's like the thing is, the fetch quests are almost the filler for the rest of the story. You know, and the story being the just being a pirate, like just being in the game and
the
playing.
World.
Yeah, and like, you know, I think that I'm hoping that when there's more population of in-game stuff, it won't feel quite as desolate, because it did. Like all the islands felt pretty desolate. The fact that I think they said they're only allowing 10 ships per instance in the final game, because you think 10 ships, if everybody was on a galleon, that's 4 people per ship.
Yeah, I guess that's
you've got a 40-person server, which but that doesn't, like, I think that's also something that will probably change, because you'll have people that want to play in the smaller ships where you only need 2 people. So I don't know. Server population is going to be a question. Content is a question. What was there was fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that experience more than maybe the like the content of the quests, if that makes sense. You know, it was like you get the quest and I like, it doesn't matter. I don't care what the quest is necessarily. It's the experience of getting to that point. Like I thought I had a lot of fun digging through the map and you and I going back and forth between, okay, you raise the sails and angle them and I'm going to drive, and okay, you drive, I'll angle the sails and you know, one of the, you know, we had some really great moments. There were some great like gaming moments that are things that if this game delivers on those on a regular basis, which I seems very viable, could be something that is like, you know, one of those greatest gaming moments of you know, that you've ever had. I think this game actually has that.
Well, it's doing some unique things because, and when you say we have to go back and forth between the map, it's because the game doesn't tell you anything. Like there's no...
You have a compass, you've got a clock.
But there's no marks on that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, whereas any other game, it's put it all over the map, tell you where to go. Here's a guy that says follow right over the top of his head or something like that.
But not in this.
None of that. You have a map from the mission that has, you know, X marks the spot somewhere, but it doesn't tell you where that island is. You have to look at the map, find the island that looks like that island, and then go to that island and find, you know, by walking around the island, where that X is on the island. Luckily, it seemed pretty liberal with, you know, once you stick your shovel in and the chest pops up, like I feel like that actual area is pretty large, so it's not too bad. But there was a time at the beginning where I was like, man, this doesn't tell you anything. Like you get to these outposts and it doesn't tell you where the vendors are.
Nope.
You know, you literally have to kind of memorize, and it was a question. I was like, do I like this? Like I didn't even know if at first, because knee jerk, I feel like a lot of people are just gonna be like, you know, this seems like a half-made game.
Sure.
But in the instances where you are traveling and you're having to communicate, and they have a pretty robust chat system too, actually. I feel like we could get by, like if one of us didn't have a mic or if one of our mics stopped working several times for some reason, you know?
Yeah. Who knows?
Speaking of which, you're on PC and I'm on Xbox, but I guess we'll get more cross-platform talky later, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to ask myself if I was into that. And I think at the end, I am. I think that's cool. I think we've had enough of it the other way. And I think they're using it to good effect here, where it does, encourage communication and it encourages.
It encourages, I mean, on some level, crewmanship.
I guess does it just encourage like normal interacting with humans, and it's the weirdest thing in the world? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah. So that actually is kind of something that was talked about. There's a website called The Spinoff, and one of the guys who writes for it got to go to Rare Studios in Birmingham, and talk to Joe Neate, who's the executive producer on the game. And what he said was, this is a direct quote, "We wanted to create a game that championed the use of soft skills, social skills, and create something that gave you a positive social experience, which isn't always the case in some video games."
That's a risky move, period.
It's a super risky move. Yeah. And it's that they talk about the fact that online interactions aren't always great. And this is actually another quote from the executive producer, Joe Neate. He says, "You can have great online interactions, and if we create a game that has the right aspiration, the right guidelines, the right kind of player rules, then we can get people to behave in a really positive way." And I hope that works. I know that my experiences already, I've had some because the game does have proximity chat. I've definitely heard the racial epithets, and that doesn't thrill me.
Right.
So I'm hoping that's going to be something that's curbed pretty quickly, because this is a game that I think is going to live and die by that kind of communication. If you can't interact with people, not only your friends, but like the other pirates, to say, "Hey, do you want to trade? Do you want to go on this voyage and we'll split the loot?" And then,
do you want to shoot my boat till I die?
Right. And that's the thing is like I don't actually have an issue with that. I don't care if the only thing that people want to do is go and just shoot people. It's really stupid. And yeah, I absolutely think that in the quote unquote spirit of the game and quote unquote spirit of being a pirate, that's not what you would do, and it's not the intention of the game, but that's fine. It is definitely more the toxicity thing, and that has reared its head, and there are threads on the Sea of Thieves forums about it, some stuff on Reddit too. So that's a question, in regards to the chat aspect. But
and that's something you can't get a handle on with any beta. Like, how are they going to tackle that? What's going to be the system? Like, are they going to care enough? Because there's that looming thing with games like League for the longest time, where it was kind of like, do they even care, or is this their bread and butter type thing? Like, are they going to do enough to push people away from something they don't want to push people away from, type thing.
Yeah, and money is going to talk here. This is like,
right.
This is kind of one of those funny things though that comes up where I see, again, the forums are a pretty good example, where there are enough people that are defending that kind of attitude and that kind of speech with the statements of, just turn it off. Who cares? If you don't like it, just disable proximity chat. Just do this. Like,
it's not the answer. That doesn't mean Rare doesn't have to do anything.
No,
or
and I don't. That's not an answer to me at all. That's a stopgap measure you do before to find out how you get it fixed, right? But this is that ultimate question about multiplayer games, anyways. Is the toxicity? How is it going to be handled?
Right.
And for what Rare is saying, it sounds like that's something that they should immediately be curbing. And like, this is similar to some of the other companies that are putting out and updating and now reinforcing community guidelines. Ubisoft is doing it. Twitch is changing their stuff, and whether or not you agree with it or it goes too far, that's one thing. But the fact is that certain levels of that kind of vitriol, there's no place for it in the game. Like, I don't care it's a cartoon pirate game. There's really no reason to get angry about it, even if you lose all of your loot. There's no progression to the game. Technically, the progression is your titles. You get progression for working with the the vendors.
There's levels attached to the three different vendors.
But you don't have a level yourself. And that is one of the things that I do love about the game is that there's no levels. It's everybody has access to all the same weapons, to all the same moves, to all that stuff. The only things that change are cosmetics.
Yeah, man, this game's going to depend on people, and not just in that way. Like I agree with you that it sounds like we're saying the same thing, that the missions are not the thing, really. I mean, the world also, you're also right in that I feel like we weren't rewarded for exploring all that much yet. And I feel like that stuff, like my gut is that stuff just isn't turned on yet. Like we found a really cool island and the game looks beautiful and all these places look cool. The water looks amazing.
Right.
But then we would go explore on some of these islands, and not only did they not have chickens, but
pigs in some cases.
Was no, they all had pigs. That was until we needed pigs, and then we could find it. But there wasn't any sense of discovery. Like we found some cool worlds. We found some cool what looked like levels, but the level wasn't triggered, or there wasn't anybody there.
Right.
You know, they were all just empty and stuff like that. So not only did this game for me depend on filling that stuff out, you know, like there being something to discover there kind of just off the cuff, because we didn't have to go to these islands or with the missions where we do have to go to numerous islands and look for chickens or pigs or whatever. Like something else needs to happen during that other than I found my chicken. You know, let's take it back.
And there are skeletons. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah. That's a little more skeletons would have done something, actually. There were some islands where we got to where there weren't any skeletons either. You know, These are kind of just the fodder bad guys everywhere. Not that the combat's exceptional, but I feel like it is all contributing to kind of a whole, like you were saying. It's more than some of its parts, or it can be if they make good on some of these things.
Yeah.
But even then, people are still I think, for me, because I spent that first part, and we were kind of getting used to how to do the ship, and there was that cool part of, you know, having to do this in kind of an analog nature. You know, we weren't being fed all the answers or given waypoints or anything like that.
Right.
But even then, that was kind of just, it wasn't enough. Like I still didn't start having real fun until we saw other people, and until I shot the other people. Like I can see how that would be annoying from both ends, but man, again, the missions were not the thing. Like I get that it all needs to come together, but man, I started having fun when I finally started like shooting people and then kind of getting into the combat and kind of going back and forth, and then you can get on their ship and you can shoot them. Like I was trying to snipe from the boat, which was moving at the same time.
And there were those, like, again, it's a moments thing, right? This is about an experience, and like it was those times where we go to the one island and the island is surrounded by rocks, but we were like, oh wait, there's cannons on the island. What if we draw the boat to the island that's chasing us, and then we'll shoot cannons? So we tried to do that. That didn't work out, but the idea is solid. So we're like, okay, we could do that again. And then one of the other moments that really stuck with me and that I thought about, and I even told Beth about it, I was like, one of those things, and this is where the game coalesced for me actually, was we were going from one place to another, and we were in the sea, and then we sailed directly into a really big storm. And as the storm is going, the boat is bouncing up and down. Water is coming in, and we finally start hitting water so hard that it's springing leaks down below.
Right.
So you're running downstairs. I can hear you from the deck hammering in the holes, bailing the water, while the controls for me are difficult. Like the wheel is constantly spinning in one direction, and I need to go the other direction, and there's resistance. And
it's cool.
You start looking around and like, okay, this is like the worst time in the world for like what happens if another ship is here, because if they decide they're going to be here and they decide they want to fight, like we're in a really bad position.
Well, not only that, but visibility was at nothing. Like we
zero.
Couldn't see. We had to get up on the thing on the top. What's the crow's nest?
The crow's nest, yeah.
To actually see, and then I had to tell you, like right or left or something like that.
Yeah, because we were heading strictly for a freaking rock, and you were like, yeah, you might want to go around that.
And we ended up at an island that wasn't the one we were trying to go to because we got blown off course.
We got blown off, and it was super cool. Like it was ridiculous, but it was really fun.
It was cool, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we did get into a couple of fights with people, and like I said, there was some stuff that was I could have gone without hearing, just because it's like
I was loving how different our play styles were. Because I could tell you weren't on board with me shooting people right off the bat.
Dude,
like,
you were just like, oh, hey, there's a ship, cannonballs. I'm like, wait a minute, just give me a second.
I just wanted to feel something
like,
at that point.
I'm like trying to rearrange the ship or go somewhere or do, and you're like, no, we're fine. Firing cannons off left and right. I'm like under the deck looking at the map going, which direction do we go? And then I hear boom, and you're like, got him. And then suddenly I'm like, wait, what's happening? And then we're sinking.
But then we die. And I'm like, yeah, we died. Like, where was that island again? Let's go back there. And you're like, we lost all our stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I didn't say that, but I could tell you're like, yeah, we lost actual stuff. We were gathering bananas. Like, our barrels full of bananas are gone.
That was specifically. I was pissed because we ran out of cannonballs and we had no planks to patch the ship up when the stupid galleon.
The galleon, yeah. So when we hit that galleon, there's two types of boats, small and big. Small, it's a 2-person boat, basically. Big, we got by with 3 people at one point, but I think you fit up to 6 or whatever it is. Is that right?
I think 4 is your total for the.
4? Okay.
4 is your total for the actual party. You can have as many people on your ship as you can carry it.
Gotcha. Okay. And the game points you at that galleon pretty heavily. Like the opening menu is like, choose this one for optimal something or rather to have the best memories or something like that. And then it's like, or you can choose this tiny boat that's pretty weak. So,
but it's fast, so enjoy that, agile idiot.
Yeah, but it's not like all they need is one. Like we got immediately sunk. Like whereas before the other guy that we were shooting back and forth, we could patch some stuff and we could that was a fun battle. Yeah. That one like boom, like we were down like immediately. I think. Oh, and one point they hit you with a cannonball and it blows you off the ship.
It depends on where they hit. It depends on where they hit you. No, which okay. I understand that like because it happened to you twice, and I can understand why it's annoying. But I think
right off the ship.
But it was really funny to see, and I think it's viable.
Okay,
I think it's legit. I think it works with the game.
All right. That stuff was fun though. Like the game needs people to me. Like if it doesn't get people like in the game, like I'm seeing other ships enough, or even just people on the ship with me. Like we had fun, me and you. But man, like obviously 4 people, I think I'm looking at a way better time.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's the way to go, and I think this is the game hopefully where you are for the most part able to get into a game and just have randos and it's fine, and that's okay.
That would be nice. That would be cool.
I will say that one of the things that did come up is a Khalif actually ran into this friend of the show, Khalif. If you don't know Khalif, go check out Spawn on Me. Great podcast. Mm-hmm. He ran into a situation where he would log in and the 3 people on the boat would immediately vote him into the brig, and then he'd just have to sit there.
What?
Because that's their way.
You could do that.
Yeah, if you have enough votes, you can put somebody in the brig, and that's their way of combating team griefers. But when the whole team is the griefer and you're the rando.
I mean, I guess you just don't play with them, but I mean,
right? But then you have to log out.
Just going to get
back
abused.
In. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Exactly. So. There are a couple of those social issues that need to be a good handle needs to be made, and Rare needs to come out hard on it right away with what they're aiming for. Rare needs to come out and do that whole like zero tolerance policy. You drop this phrase, this word comes out of your mouth, you're gone. It's banned. You're done. There's like a handful of those words, and it shouldn't be hard. But I heard at least 4 of them in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we'll it's see. Like, dude, like, I can report you and I will, and that's fine. But Rare needs to actually take those situations into account, and people, honestly, this is one of those things that's killing me, man. And I have been guilty of saying things that I they come to my brain, but I try really hard to migrate that stuff. If racial epithets are the first thing that come to your head when you get angry at a video game, you need self-reflection, my dude. There is an issue there.
Yeah. If the first place your head goes is to like racial slurs, then shut down your YouTube channel, change your name from PewDiePie to something maybe more understandable. There's stuff you can do.
Just stop it. Just stop it, Pete. So that's where I'm at with it. I did pre-order it. It's there. I'm after playing it again, having those experiences I mentioned. Beth is going to give it a shot, and I'm really excited to have Beth play. And if you're going to play, cool. That's a 3-man, and I think
I will play. I think at this point it's more of a question of if I'm going to buy it outright or sign up for Game Pass.
See, and that is the other thing. Game Pass $9.99, and this game immediately in there. So,
right. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll be playing it. I'm in.
And I think Ian is going to play too. So we may have a solid 4-person.
That's people.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I did want to mention about the game that I thought was kind of cool is, and you mentioned it earlier, and touched on it, but this will dovetail a little bit. We were playing cross-platform. When I play it at home, when Beth is playing, we're gonna be playing cross-platform as well. She's gonna play on the Xbox. I'll be on the PC. You'll be on Xbox. Which I think leads to an interesting discussion point. There's some stuff that Epic is doing right now with Fortnite, and this is current. It's not new, but it's current, and it's kind of coming back again. This whole concept of cross-platform between everything, right? And
Epic certainly hasn't let up on it. Like they've kind of been the champions in a lot of ways.
For sure. I mean, they were, what 6 months ago, they quote unquote accidentally turned on cross-platform between PC, Xbox, and PS4, and it worked. There were no issues. They did throw up their hand and say, "Whoopsie, we didn't know," which was clearly their way of kind of following suit with the Rocket League guys, Psyonix, who have said repeatedly, it's a button. Essentially, we can turn it on in less than an hour. And
but supposedly Sony's been the one holding this up, right? Which they would be because they're kind of in the lead, whereas Xbox is like, if we could get more people.
Well, yeah, it is kind of interesting. Sony has been traditionally the company we've heard that has been reticent, and they've come back, and most of the time the responses have been something along the lines of, with Xbox anyways, we can't trust Xbox Live. We don't know what's going on there, so we don't know your network infrastructure, and we won't trust it.
It's all bunk. They're just in the lead, and they stand to lose the most from making an Xbox play with a PS4 because they're the leading console, whereas Xbox has to play catch up or find these types of workaround types. But either way, it appears like Sony was the one that took up the mantle when, and you made an interesting point that Microsoft went out of their way to kind of get Battlegrounds exclusivity.
Right.
But seeing as that's kind of taken a backseat to Fortnite recently, it seems like Sony hasn't harbored any ill will towards Epic for hitting that switch at some point, and is now, at least to some degree, chasing Fortnite.
Right. So Epic recently came out and they announced that Battle Royale is going to come to Android and iOS. The full game, mind you, like the actual game.
That's nuts.
And in doing so, what they're doing is they're trying to make that game homogenous across all platforms. So every platform is getting the same update at the same time, all of them, including, again, the mobile version.
Right.
And what they want to do is create cross-platform and cross-progression between PS4, PC, Mac, iOS, and eventually Android. Who's left out on that?
Yeah, why am I left out on that?
So I think that the reason
the
Xbox is left
thing,
out is that point. I think that Microsoft went big on betting on PUBG, which they made that decision and that announcement before Battle Royale had really hit, right? So knowing that PUBG is going to be with Microsoft for at least, probably another year or two, this makes sense that Sony may have been more open to partnering with Epic when Fortnite is, out of the two games, the more popular now. Fortnite has superseded PUBG in every respect, I think, popularity-wise. And coming out of Epic, this is the quote is, "In partnership with our friends at Sony, Fortnite Battle Royale will support cross-play and cross-progression between PS4, PC, Mac, iOS, and eventually Android. This means players across devices can squad up with friends and play together." And that's super cool. I love the cross-platform thing. I love the idea of this. Phil Spencer came out and immediately said, yeah, we would love for this to be implemented for us as well. We want that. The Fortnite devs came out in response to him and said, yeah, we do too. So ideally, what we're looking at here is a situation where maybe Fortnite becomes the game that allows for a more holistic gaming community, where you have a game that can be played everywhere all the time by anybody together with all of those people. I think that's always been at the forefront of video games for a lot of developers, for a lot of people playing. It's how do I get everybody to play my game and how do I do it together?
Sure. I mean, it's almost been too pie in the sky. Like it's like talking about just having one console from now on, getting rid of the console wars altogether, which has never seemed viable to me.
Right.
But this does.
But like the idea, building the holistic gaming in a community where you can still let your first parties, your Microsofts and your Sonys still create incredible experiences that are unique to their environment and their platform, while simultaneously allowing fostering real growth in disparate communities. And I would love to see that mentality kind of just continue and grow with the younger generation as well. The whole, who cares where you're playing it? We're playing it together. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you can afford a super high-end PC. I can afford an Xbox when we can play the same game. And yeah, looks better for you and you get all the bells and whistles. I still get to experience it with my friend. I still get to experience it with other people. And I love that. I do. And I really hope that Epic continues to push and tries to get Sony to kind of let up, because it only takes one. It takes one game to allow for that avalanche to happen. It's
Fortnite
one of those situations.
Could definitely be that game, man.
Every day, that game is getting more and more popular with sports, with actors, with everything.
But I think this idea of a community across platforms is a future we can get behind. Whereas we heard so much, the thing I've been dreading at least, is this whole idea of games as service, where it seems, I guess, more publisher based maybe. Like that seems like something for them, where
right.
they're creating a game that can go on forever and monetize forever or whatever. And now we have something for us almost, where, okay, whatever, have your money, but I get to play with anybody, anywhere, anytime,
right?
Type thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just the ray of hope that I'm seeing, or I mean, it's such a weird blossoming thing as is. Because, and maybe this is the other thing we get into, with the announcement of the Division 2, Ubisoft doing that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Division 1 was a success. People liked it.
Later
after.
on. Yep.
Rainbow Six Siege Season 3 has been released to the most numbers they've seen ever. Is that right?
Yep. They brought a lot of people back with it too.
So we have, I guess for the first time, it's this idea of games as service can be done right. And I don't know if I was being pessimistic, but and again, I'm not the guy to maybe even have this opinion, but there's a ray of hope now for me. And from the weirdest freaking place too. Like how is Ubisoft the company that couldn't release a functioning game to save their life?
They could not release a working Tetris game. Let that
or Scrabble.
Right. Let those
I bought them all.
Fill your brain for a moment. Yes, I'm going to say it. Let it sink in that those games were released broken, never got fixed, are still broken.
And they're the one nailing games as service. Right. And you're the one to speak this more than I. You have experience with Rainbow Six, but they're doing this right?
Yeah, and look, number one, the Division 2 was, like, when that got announced last week, I actually said, wait, what? And then I went and I reviewed all the stuff that I'd kind of been looking at for 6-8 months, and realized that game, it did take them about a year, maybe a little bit longer to figure it out. But they did. They listened to the community. They made some changes, which makes this even more exciting for me, because I have the experience with Rainbow Six. I do know what that community is like, and that's a great game, and a great example of a game that continues to do everything right. They're bringing in operators, they're updating the balancing, they're creating new cosmetics that are, for the most part, that's all you're getting is new cosmetics. That's what you're paying for, and new operators, but they're balancing it, they're listening, they're making the changes as players are playing and they're looking at the feedback, they're listening to the feedback, they're watching their metrics.
So you think that's their trick? Yeah. So listening to the community, like that's it? That's all they had to do?
I honestly think listening and not just listening, but listening and being interactive and being able to pare down and kind of define where the problems are and say, okay, here's what the complaint is. What is the actual problem? Because a lot of times those types of feedback, those forum feedbacks, the Twitter feedback, you're getting a lot of emotion with it. It's not about the problem. It's about, I'm pissed that X happened to me. Why did it happen to me?
But being able to parse that is where they appear to be shining.
I think so. I do. I think so. I think they are. I think Ubisoft has been doing a really good job with it.
It's crazy, man. I mean, that's not even where it ends either. I'm really gonna blow your mind here. Are you ready?
Tell me, hit me, Mike's
all this
exploding
while releasing Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed, full-fledged single-player games.
Yep.
The ones that can't be done. How did Ubisoft become our weird, stupid savior?
We love Ubisoft.com.
We love Ubisoft.com. It's Dave.
I am putting this 100% on Eric Pope. He did it. Good job, Pope.
Ubipope.com. We love Ubipope.
We love ubipope.org.
He be Pope.
And that's the capper. Thanks for stopping by. You can always hit us up at podcast@0hitpoints.com. Follow us on Twitter, 0_H_P. We're on Facebook. We're on the Instagrams. You know all that stuff. 0hitpoints.com. Check us out. We'll be back next week. Until then, any games coming
up? We'll be back this week.
Oh.
Go to Book Club for Movies. Yeah, Thursday podcast.
There you go. Book Club for. Are there any games coming out that you're looking forward to that you're picking up? It's happening.
Burnout Paradise Remastered.
Yeah.
On March 16th.
Booyah.
Is the game. Booyah.
Booyah. Burnout, yeah. Brew. Next week, I'm reaching. I'm still going for that solo dub. Still want that Fortnite Battle Royale Victory Royale.
I too will play a game.
I'm probably going to do some more Into the Breach this week though, for sure.
Did you get any of that this last week?
I did not.
Okay, gotcha.
Again,
taking a break. That's fine.
Week has been hell on earth, and this week is also looking to be a little tough. So we'll see. Those are my hopes. What were you?
I have hopes too.
Do you have dreams though?
I hope no. Those are tied long ago.
Yeah, good.
0hitpoints.com, everybody.